So Eragon was the first book in the Inheritance trilogy, and my second novel, Eldest, came out in August 2005. As the middle part of the Inheritance trilogy, Eldest is really the area of the story where the characters have to really master their new abilities and grow as people. And because it's the middle part of the story, it's where things tend to go very, very badly for everyone, since things have to go badly in the middle part of the story before they can hopefully start to get better in the final part. Roran, Eragon's cousin, has a very large role in the second book, and also his beloved, Katrina, who is the butcher's daughter, Sloane's daughter. So Roran has a lot of challenges in the second book because the evil King Galbatorix, having lost Eragon in the first book, says, "Oh, no, he had a cousin, didn't he? I'm going to see if I can get a hold of him and use him as a hostage or something." So he's faced with this horrible decision of, how can he protect the villagers, how can he protect his home, and how can he rescue the woman he loves at the same time. And that's really what drives him to do such extraordinary things that he does. A lot of new characters are introduced in the Eldest. One of the main ones is Queen Islanzadi, the leader of the elves, and she lives in Duveldenvarden, the great forest in the north of Alagasia. People get to meet two new dragons. One of them is named Glader. He's this beautiful and very old gold dragon who's paired with an elf dragon rider. And the two of them act as mentors for Eragon and Saphira in the second book. The other dragon who shows up at the end of the story, and his name is Thorn. He's a red dragon. And not the nicest of dragons, I have to tell you. He kind of comes in and causes some bloodshed and mayhem near the end of the story. The most important things of having a hero, I think, is having a hero who isn't completely invulnerable, who isn't, otherwise you have a god, essentially. Someone who actually does bleed and hurt and worry about, am I going to live through the next fight? The training that Eragon goes through in the middle of Eldest is actually rather esoteric in some ways. On one hand, he has physical training as much as possible because at the time he's rather debilitated by an injury that Durza, the Shade, gave him in Eragon. But he does have a certain amount of physical training to, of course, make sure he's as good a warrior as possible. But most of his training is of a more literary nature. And actually one of the challenges in the Inheritance trilogy is with each book, Eragon becomes more powerful. He gains these magical powers and physical powers as well. A lot of his training in the book is devoted toward his magical training, how to master these powers, how to use them further, how to learn to fight with them even more, since that plays a large part in the second book as well. Every fantasy series or every epic story needs a good villain. And although Galbatorix has not actually been seen in the books yet, he doesn't appear until the third book, he is really the driving force behind everything that's getting thrown at Eragon. In the third book, what we have is Galbatorix, having attacked the Varden in the first book, gathers the bulk of his forces to really eradicate them in the second book. And so we have, forced conscription going on in the Empire. We have this huge human army gathering to attack the Varden. And of course, there's a new villain or enemy who shows up at the end of the book, who is a bit of a surprise, I think. Eldest sets up the third book very nicely, I think, because it ends with Eragon and Roran reunited, and Eragon pledging to help Roran rescue Katrina, who is being held by the Razak in their dark tower of stone hellgrind. So I don't want to give away book 3, but I think it's safe to say that, of course, we're going to have some swashbuckling near the beginning where they try to do exactly that.